All right, so all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakaha, Kwadash. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And shalom also to the sincere followers of this truth, all right? The other sincere followers of this truth. Shalom. All right, so today's going to be part two in the Flowing in the Spirit series that I started yesterday, with the topic being the remnant, we shall be like him, okay? Um, and this was a little small take on uh, other teachers and elders of the truth going to these podcasts, all right? And these are other teachers and other teachers that don't have 100% truth, but they are teachers, so you do have to give them their respects in that aspect, that they are out there teaching, all right? But they are flawed in understanding. Otherwise, they wouldn't be going to these podcasts. And in this particular instance, speaking on this one particular instance, the one I showed yesterday, you wouldn't be answering the questions that were posed to you in this way. And that adds on to the lacking in understanding in certain aspects of this truth, all right? So, we left off with Isaiah 30, Isaiah chapter 30, verses 19 through 25. And I am going to read that really quick, only in the King James, all right? So we can get caught up to where we were. Isaiah chapter 30, 19 through 25. All right? It reads, "For the people shall dwell in Zion, at Jerusalem. Thou shalt weep no more. He will be very gracious unto thee at the voice of thy cry. When he shall hear it, he will answer thee." So that's likened to today, in these days, in the spirit. All right, we are crying, and the Lord hears those cries, okay? And he will be gracious, okay? And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity, all right, because we can learn from our adversities, and we have many. All right, like I said before, there are almost 9 billion spirits on this earth, all right, humans on this earth that are against the remnant, all right? But they help build us also, all right? They help us grow in this truth because we have the truth that keeps us in line and an example for us to look at, all right? So verse 20 again, "And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction," again, we're growing from all these things, right? "Yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers." All right. So I see, and I'm talking spiritually, right? My spirit, I can see the way my teachers move in the spirit. All right. Filter it through the scriptures. And I can see the way that they move because it lines up with the scriptures. Now, the followings of these other teachers that go on these podcasts, they are the teachers, all right? They are removing themselves into that corner again that they came out of, all right? But my teachers are not removed into a corner, and I can see them. And I'm talking about in the spirit. This whole lesson mainly is a spiritual, the spiritual side of things, all right? Even in particular, this instance in particular, all right? We'll get to the title and how it connects with spiritually, us spiritually in the truth, and how it connects to the teachers going on these podcasts, how it connects to them spiritually in the truth, all right? So verse 21, "And thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, This is the way, walk ye in it, when ye turn to the right hand and when ye turn to the left. So we are being shown, taught, through listening, through reading, through studying, um, the way to walk. All right. And we walk in that path the best that we can. All right. The truth, the Lord, Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, all right, are lighting our path. Okay. And telling us to walk in this path. Okay. So while we're in the path, in the light, it's easy to see people outside of that are walking contrary to the truth. Okay. Even if you are new in this, if you have your foundation, it is easy to see when people are walking contrary to this. And I believe that they even see it. They are just trying to make their own way. Right? But I could be wrong. Maybe the Lord blinded them to where they won't be able to see the footsteps that they leave, which is dangerous because their followers are following their footsteps. All right? If any of them were sincere, they would take this reproof, rebuke, chastening, all right, and they would examine themselves, all right? They would examine themselves, okay? It will not hurt to take time, and I'm not saying take a year off of teaching the truth. Still teach, okay? But you can also examine yourself during these, all right? You can examine yourself during the time of your teaching, you know? Build on the things that you know, but examine yourselves when it comes to certain moves that you're making. Look back at the tape. Listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth. Okay? If you were on the come up, as that teacher that was on that show, okay, if you were on the come up and you seen your teacher automatically do that, or if you seen that teacher do what you did or answer questions the way that you did, would you stay in that congregation? This is dangerous. This is really dangerous. So Isaiah 30 and 22. Ye shall defile also the covering of thy graven images and ye shall defile also the covering of thy graven images in silver, and the ornament of thy molten images of gold. Thou shalt cast them away as a menstruous cloth. Thou shalt say unto it, Get thee hence. So we're not looking back at our old paths. We're not trying to go backwards and prove to anyone anything. We're moving forward on this path that the Lord put us on, all right, in this light. And we're teaching. The Spirit is going to do what it wants to do. So if someone from your old self, okay, if someone from your past is meant to hear the truth, it'll get to them. It might not even be through you, all right? They might reference you thinking, wow, I used to know that guy and how he used to be, but he's on something else. And then if it's meant that Spirit to get on them through someone else, all right, or through your actions, they'll see how 10 toes down, I guess you could say, you are in this. All right, how much you believe in this? How much I can't even think of the word. A verse just came to my head. Oh, sanctification. How you are sanctified in this. Maybe them seeing your walk, all right, they'll be likened to second guess the path that they're on. All right, but if they get you on a podcast and corner you and ask you a question that'll show if you really believe the things that you say, all right, and then you answer that thing and that answer is shaky, all right, they're going to know that you are not 10 toes down. So why have faith in something that you are shaky in? All right, they're going to feel like that thing isn't real. Okay, so verse 23. Then shall he give thee the rain of thy seed, that thou shalt sow the ground withal. All right, he's going to give you this truth, and you're just going to go out there and speak it, and it's going to spread and grow. Okay, and the bread of the increase of the earth, and it shall be fat and plenteous. In that day shall thy cattle feed in large pastures. So your followers, your flock, will be able to feed on all the truth that you gave them. If you are on this path, all right, it'll be a good thing. If you are on the path contrary to this, you're going to feed them death. Okay? Verse 25, and there shall be upon every high mountain and upon every high hill rivers and streams of waters in the day of the great slaughter, when all the towers fall, or when the towers fall, excuse me. It doesn't mention in there um, that if you do your own thing, all right, if you come up with your own way of doing things, that this is how things will go. All right, this all detailed us walking in the path, all right, that the Lord left here for us. Now let's go to First John, and I'm using technology really quick. All right, using technology for this lesson. I might check the 1611 for some precepts to see what comes up. The good news I will more than likely touch. All right, and we will be going into excuse me, we will be going into the Apocrypha. All right, but right now let's go to First John chapter 3. Let's read verses 1 through 3. The heading says, Children of God, love one another. All right. So, before I read this, I just wanted to state that my teachers, all right, have told us that, you say a lot of things. These other teachers do have some truth. All right. And they give them credit where credit is due. All right. And they are not really pleased to see someone who, knows the truth and who is teaching and who is in the scriptures. They're not pleased to see things happening where it seems like you're getting uprooted. All right. If they did not care, if they did not love you as a brother, they would just let you go on. Okay. They would let you just go on. All right. And, which they are in a way, but you are still receiving reproof, chastisement, correction. All right. So you have to consider that, man. They are not your enemy. We are not your enemy. All right. But the enemy is taking hold of you. All right. You still have those gold and silver idols in your back pocket ready to pull so you can show men. All right. Your shiny accolades. All right. It has nothing to do with you. Our sight should be on Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and the path that he walked. All right, because his father told him to walk a certain way, and he listened. He learned obedience, and he listened. All right, he didn't go do his own thing. All right, as Yahweh Shai. Okay, and Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai is whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus. All right, that is not his name. He doesn't go by any other name. All right, it's just Yahweh Shai, and his father, the Almighty, his name is Yahweh. All right. So Bahashem in the name of, all right. So Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, all right, in the name of, all right. So now let's go ahead and read 1 John 3. This is going to be verses 1 through 3. It says, Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God. Therefore, the world, all right, knoweth us not, because it knew him not. Okay, we're not of this world. We don't go shining the accolades of this world around, because they are nothing. Okay, they are nothing. So them accolades don't hold up to anything spiritually. Okay, they are meant for this world. They mean something in this world, but we're separate from this world, right? So there's no need to go back to an old stomping ground and claim an old stomping ground. All right, stay the course. Okay, this is verse 2. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be, But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Now, does that mean we're going to look exactly like Yahweh Shai? No, but we will be like him in spirit. All right, one mind. All right, he is the son of Yahweh. We are also the sons of God. All right, okay, and that is the focus. And that's why this lesson is named "We Shall Be Like Him." Think spiritually, okay? And we're gonna touch on this again in a second. So verse 3, it says, "And every man that hath his hope in him purifieth himself, even as he is pure." So don't even put hope in the things that you want to do, the path that you want to take. We put our hope in Yahweh Shai. All right, we try to follow his path. And what is he doing? What path is he walking in? Fathers, the Heavenly Father, Yahweh's. Okay? Let me read that in the NLT. All right. 1 John chapter 3 in the NLT. It says, "See how very much our Father loves us, for he calls us his children. And that is what we are." Right? "But the people who belong to this world don't recognize that we are God's children because they don't know him." We are on a higher plane. All right. We will be like the Lord spiritually. All right. A divide is happening now. Okay. The truth is showing this divide. All right. In spirit, we are becoming giants, men of renown. All right. We are becoming like him. All right. People who are worldly are becoming more and more worldly. It's showing. All right. You trying to fight it. Okay. You trying to fight it, but the cracks are showing. All right. The broken cisterns are starting to show themselves. They are not holding water. They are not holding this water. Okay. Verse 2 in the NLT, 1 John chapter 3, verse 2. "Dear friends, we are already God's children, but he has not yet shown us what we will be like when Yahweh Shai appears. But we do know that we will be like him, for we will see him as he really is." All right. So, yes, we are going to see him physically as he really is. All right. But right now, I'm just speaking about the spirit. We will be like him. In spirit, we will be complete like him when he appears and when he sows these laws into our hearts, in our minds. All right. And walking in this path will be as easy as breathing. Still, now today, we sin day in and day out. All right. We are sorrowful. We repent. All right. Okay. Some more so than others. Some need to repent more so than others. Okay. Some need to actually have faith and believe that we are God's children, Yahweh's children. Do you understand what type of level that is on? We are above and beyond this world. All right. We were meant for what's coming. We were meant for the world that is to be. There's no use in latching on to anything, whether it be something way in the past or something now or something that we notice coming down the road. There's nothing to latch on to here. All of this shit is going to burn up. It's going to die off. All right. So there's no use in taking your shiny idols out of your pocket on a podcast in front of thousands and thousands of people. Okay. Showing yourself. All right. That's all you're doing. The Lord is making you mark yourself, just as he is doing with the rest of the world, just as he is doing with Esau Edom. All right. That pride has got people on something. That pride is a different monster, man. So you got to come out from that and realize that the ones that are telling you this they don't hate you. That is showing love. I think you forget about that. You get so high up in this thing when you know more and more knowledge. And yes, these things are powerful and they feel good knowing, but you can't let this stuff make you drunk. Stay humble. All right. Too much of anything is a bad thing. All right, you can let this thing take hold of you and you get uplifted and prideful. You know how that goes. You know the scriptures better than I do, right? So just dial down that pride. Dial it all the way down if you can. I'm not even gonna say dial it halfway down. Dial it all the way down. Put it in the negative numbers. All right, verse 3. 1 John chapter 3, verse 3 in the NLT, it says, "And all who have this eager expectation will keep themselves pure, just as he is pure." All right, so what are you doing going to these podcasts? You're supposed to keep yourself pure. Watch the company you keep. All right, they had you befuddled by one question. They were really testing you, and the Lord was testing you. Are you really about what you've been preaching about, teaching about, acting the part? All right, or are you just faking it till you make it? I think you were tested, man, and they know that you are on shaky ground. Your foundation might be sand. I mean, you look the part, you talk the part, and that's coming from my teachers. I don't know you. I don't know you. I've only seen you on the videos that my teachers use. All right, that's why this is not a personal thing. All right, and I would hope someone uh new in the faith, been in the faith for a while, if they start seeing me go off, they would, what did it say? Uh, this is the path, walk ye in it. Paraphrasing. All right, I would love to hear that. I would think maybe the Lord will put something on me to make me not want to hear that. I don't know, but that's a scary spot to be in, though. All right. So you just have to remember, we are Yahweh's children. Okay, this world is on a boulevard of broke dreams. This whole entire earth, the whole world, excuse me. Okay, on the boulevard of broke dreams. There's only a remnant. There's only a remnant here. Okay, which side are you on? And you have to look at everything, your actions, what you speak. All right, the people, the company you keep. All right, who are we to be in all holy conversation? Paraphrasing again, I don't know that right now. All right, but you know what I'm talking about. You know these scriptures way better than I do. Okay, so now let's go from there to. Let me see. Oh, let me read that in the good news. 1 John chapter 3, verses 1 through 3 in the good news. All right, it reads, "See how much the Father has loved us." And man, you really have to take all this in. These are not just words. All of us in this truth, all right? All of us in this truth know that these are alive, faithful, will not fail, all right? They are here for us. These words, they are living, okay? So when you read this, it's not just reading words. Maybe when you get high up in knowing these things, you start to revert back to thinking that these are just words. You start thinking that you know it all and forget what you are actually a part of, right? So see how much the Father has loved us. Do you? Do you see that? His love is so great that we are called God's children. We are called God's children. This is why the world does not know us. Not because you haven't pulled out that shiny idol. Not because you aren't still in that life and made it to the highest honor of being in that group. All right? The world doesn't know us because we are Yahweh's children. All right? All right. His love is so great that we are called God's children. And so, in fact, we are. This is why the world does not know us. It has not known God. All right. My dear friends, we are now God's children. All right. Because we've grown to know this. We know this now. We have faith and we know this. All right. But it is not yet clear what we shall become. But we know that when Yahushua appears, we shall be like him, because we shall see him as he really is. All right. So we don't know, we can't see clearly what we will be, but we are growing in spirit. All right. And when we read these things, we can kind of, at least I'm speaking for myself, I can kind of feel the power that Yahushua has, all right? Through his father, okay? Through Yahweh. All right. They stood on, for lack of a better word right now, just use a worldly saying. All right. They stand on business truly. Truly. And we are beginning to stand on business. Me, myself, because I'm new to this. All right. But my teachers, all right, they stand on business. All right. To the best of our ability. Okay. But Yahweh and Yahushua, they stand on business. And you can tell just by reading these words. You can feel it. All right. Where was I? Verse 3. Everyone who has this hope in Yahushua keeps himself pure, just as Yahushua is pure. All right. So I'm not looking to go back to an old block, to an old corner, to an old group of people just to prove myself, to pull out these little shiny accolades of the world that I used to be in. All right. I have moved forward. I have left this world. I don't fit this world's mold, and it don't fit mine. All right. We look for greater and better things promised through Yahushua and Yahweh. All right. Now let's go to uh let's see what I wrote down. I wrote down James. Let's see what's in James. James. All right. So here we go. We'll go with this. James. Actually, let's go to hold on. Let me see. All right. Yeah, let's go to yeah, let's go to James. This is chapter 4. All right. And we'll start at 6 and read through 10. Okay. So it reads, but he giveth more grace. Wherefore he saith, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. Which path do you think that particular video, if you watch that whole thing, does it seem that you are humble, or does it seem that you are proud? All right. You need to go back and review this. As a matter of fact, not even you. I have to remind myself, if I ever, right, get the notion that my humbleness is ticking up just because I'm learning more and more things. Like sometimes I don't even like certain words I use, okay? Because it sounds, I know how someone could take it. But once again, like I said yesterday, it doesn't matter um, what I say. It matters who I said it to and how they heard it. And above and beyond that, in the spirit, all right, it matters what the Lord wants out of that. So I need to stop harking on what I say and how I say. I mean, as long as it's the truth, okay, I need to start harking on what I can do to 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 have people understand this more. All right, the Lord is going to handle that. Okay, so I hope that I always stay humble and never get proud. All right, okay. Verse 7, James 4 and 7. Submit yourselves, therefore, to Yahweh. All right, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. All right, resist the devil and he will flee from you. You ran to, the devil's communication. That's what that podcast is, really. A bunch of demons and devils and harlots, Jezebels, all these people, right? They watch that thing, and for the most part, all right, we get our news and our things to grow on from everywhere, all right. I'm not saying that, but we don't run to get on these type shows, all right, and address these people, all right. Okay, the Lord comes to you, okay. The Lord comes to you. The Lord chooses you. Okay? You don't go choose who this goes to. The Lord does that. All right? And again, that question that you answered and how you answered it was shaky, man. You wouldn't be in the Israelite car, but you would go jump in this other car because you feel like you could go over there and save something. No, you stay your ass in this Israelite car. If the Lord wants to start it, if we talking about cars, all right, and we headed to the kingdom, we all in a congregation of cars. We all in a lineup of cars, right? A caravan of cars. Okay, the Lord is gonna build that caravan. You stay your ass in that Israelite car. All right. Okay. So, um, James 4, chapter 4, and verse 8. Draw nigh to God, and He will draw nigh to you. You jumping out the car though. You don't want to be in that Israelite car. All right. You ashamed. You offended. I'm not even going to say that. But you want to go your own way. That's what I mean. All right. It says, cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. In that interview, that question, all right, I didn't watch the whole interview, but that question, uh, from the time it was being presented to you to the time you ended your answer, sounded double-minded. All right. You hesitated on what car you would stay in. And then you jumped in the other car. I mean, but you probably left that show, made a lesson, went back. Which side are you teaching? Which side are you on? All right. So what if you got back to your congregation and they told you, well, I'm gonna leave the truth, all right, because I feel like if I go join whoop de whoop over here, that I can do some work over here. What would you tell them? All right. Okay. So verse 9, James 4 and 9, be afflicted and mourn and weep, and let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy turn to heaviness. So when we were in the lives that we were in, all right, we were laughing. We were laughing. Okay? All right? Um but now the things that used to make us laugh in that life, I feel like weeping over the things that I did, man. Okay? I felt like weeping. I felt heavy now when this thing gets pointed out to you, the things of your old life. All right? The joys that you had in that past life, the laughter you had, all right, turns to mourning and heaviness when you start learning this truth. points the finger at you. You start seeing who you were clearly. Okay? So verse 10, James 4 and verse 10, humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he shall lift you up. So where can you go that you are not in the sight of the Lord? There's no place that you can go. All right, so you need to stay humble at all times. Okay? Let me read that again in the NLT. James 4, 6 through 10. It says, but he gives us even more grace to stand against such evil desires. As the scriptures say, God opposes the proud, but favors the humble. Okay? And keep in mind, please keep in mind, the Lord is only here for the remnant. If you are not of the remnant, okay, which includes the elect in that number, all right? Lord willing, I am of that number. But there's no telling until the day of the Lord gets here, all right? I could be one that's getting destroyed. I could end up going off just like the example I'm giving today, okay? We will not know until the end. I always bring up the example of Judas. He was one of the 12 until he wasn't. So, in self-examination is very important. It's right up there with listening, right up there with reading, all right up there with growing in the spirit, right up there with knowing that there is order to this. There is Yahweh, there is Yahweh Shai right after him, and then so on and so forth, all right? All of this knowledge is important, okay? All right, so, where was I? So yeah, so the Lord opposes the proud, but favors the humble. Okay, and with self-examination, that should keep you humble all in itself. Because you know for a fact that you are not perfect. You know for a fact that you are not perfect if you are doing any kind of self-examination. We know that we have all came short of the glory, all right? Okay? This is a grace period. This is a time to walk in the ways of the Lord the best of our ability. All right? Not take this for a joke or an opportunity to get fame. You know what's coming. You know what's coming pretty soon. All right? None of us knows the exact time, but you do understand what's coming. These flames. All right? Seeing the Lord face to face and having to deal with that. That is going to be scary. All right? So, self-examination, man. You have to get back humble. Verse 7. James 4 and 7 in the NLT. So humble yourselves before Yahweh. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Get away from that old life. Just get away from it. All right? Verse 8. Come close to God, and God will come close to you. Wash your hands, you sinners. Purify your hearts, for your loyalty is divided between God and the world. All right? Don't let this thing divide your loyalty. Do not do that. Don't second guess being in this vehicle, which is the truth. All right? Which is a gift. All right? Verse 9. Let there be tears for what you have done. Let there be sorrow and deep grief. Let there be sadness instead of laughter and gloom instead of joy. That does not mean that you have to go around this world moping and crying and pouting. All right? That just means that person that you were. Turn from that. All right? Don't be over there celebrating and all this other shit when you know you living the wrong way. All right? Be sorrowful for everything that we have done. Okay? We have to be. If you self-examine, you have to be sorry, man. At least if you are the remnant. All right, you will be. Okay? Verse 10. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up in honor. He will lift you up. You're not going to decide to go jump in another car and do this or that so you can lift yourself up. No, it said the Lord will lift you up in honor. All right. So now, I only have a couple more books that I'm going to go to. All right. Let's go to, actually, no, hold on. Let's read that in the Good News Translation. All right. James chapter 4. All right. Verses 6 through 10. All right. It says, but the grace that God gives is even stronger, as the scripture says, God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. So then, submit yourselves to God, resist the devil, and he will run away from you. Come near to God, and he will come near to you. Wash your hands, you sinners. That's talking to everybody, man. All of us remnant. Okay? We were sinners. Okay? Purify your hearts. You hypocrites. All right? We did. Hey, man. This place had us all fucked up, man. We was all sinners, hypocrites. Okay? Finding joy in wickedness. All right? Verse 9, it says, be sorrowful, cry, and weep. Change your laughter into crying, your joy into gloom. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. And if you do that, all right, you change you in that life, in that previous life, if you change what makes you laugh into crying, all right, and change your joy into gloom, that means you're going to be doing the opposite what you were doing, right? Okay? Turn and walk this way, all right? Verse 10, it says, humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. All right? So the Lord will lift us up. All right? Now, let's go to the Apocrypha. If I can find it, let's go. Hold on. Well, I got it right here. Let's just go in this. All right, let's go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 2. All right. 2nd Ezra, chapter 2, and we're going to go to verses 42 through 48. All right, now listen to this. This is Ezra's talking, all right? Excuse me. It says, I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Sion a great people, whom I could not number, and they all praised the Lord with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of a higher stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So I just want to pause for a minute and just think about this in the spirit right now. Okay, it says we will be like him, right? So it says a young man of a high stature, taller than the rest. In spirit, right here and now, he is making us like him. We are not fully there yet, right? But in the spirit, we are of high stature and taller than the rest of everything else outside of the remnant down here. All right, we are on our way to being like him in the spirit. So when you go and back yourself into a corner with them old idols, okay, you are setting yourself up and your congregation and them idols. Everything about your old life is going to be melted. All right, self-examinate. All right, okay, where we at? Verse 44. It says, so I asked the angel, so I asked the angel and said, sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing, okay, and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of God. Now are they crowned and receive palms. All right. So if you think about it, that Israelite car that you talked about getting out of, the remnant car, all right, that's a spiritual vehicle, all right, likened to the chariot in the spirit, right? You want to get out of that and come back down here and something that's driving around on four wheels, depending on gas. You just want to jump into a mortal car, all right? When the Lord is going to let the Spirit do what He wants to do, you're not going to come down here and save anybody your own way, all right? Stay your ass in the Israelite car, all right? We put off mortal clothing, okay? But you want to jump back in that car. You want to put that clothing back on. That's what it seemed like. All right, it seemed like you was ready to boast about the things in that other life. All right, but it said to let go of those things. All right. All right. Verse 46, it says, Then I said unto the angel, What young person is it that crowneth them, and giveth them palms in their hands? Now this is where the focus should be. Not the path that you want to walk, but what did it say? Who is that? So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of God, Yahweh Shai. Listen to this. Whom they have confessed in the world. All right. No one is going to be here on the Lord's day confessing you. Okay. The Lord's going to know your works, but all of us, the remnant, we are going to be confessing Yahweh Shai. All right. That's what we are doing now. It has nothing to do with us. All right. Let me start again at the top of 47. So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of God. All right. Yahweh Shai. Whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I to greatly commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord, not the name of some teacher who went on a podcast, jumped out of the Israelite car into the so-and-so car and saved one nigga with the chance of saving one nigga, and you didn't even do that, right? Because they asked that question to see how shaky your foundation were, and you showed it, all right? And I don't say that out of pride either, all right? I pray that whatever spirit you had on you does not jump on me, all right? And I pray it jumps off of you. Well, I'm not going to say pray, but Lord willing, all right, if it's meant to jump off you, I hope it does it soon, all right? And you come into the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of 100% truth and get away from that pride. Verse 48, Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way, and tell my people what manner of things and how great wonders of the Lord thy God thou hast seen. The great wonders of the Lord, all right? Not the great wonders of anybody down here, okay? We're supposed to be decreasing, and the Lord increaseth, all right? So let's read that in the good news. 2nd Ezra, chapter 2. All right, 2nd Ezra, chapter 2, verses 42 through 48. All right, the heading says Ezra on Mount Zion. All right, New Jerusalem. All right, the spiritual Jerusalem. All right, so and there is a New Jerusalem. All right, there is an actual city. Right now, the remnant, all right, are likened to that city. All right, so this is 2nd Ezra chapter 2, verse 42 through 48 in the Good News translation. Okay, and it reads, I, Ezra, saw an enormous crowd on Mount Zion, too many people to count, They were all singing and praising the Lord, all right, not looking for their own way, okay? They were praising the Lord because his way is the light and the truth, okay? And the way to life, all right? Verse 43, standing in the middle of this crowd was a very tall young man, taller than any of the others. So again, in spirit, we are taller than any of the others here, okay? As the remnant, there's a separation, okay? He was placing a crown on the head of each person, but he towered above them all, all right? Just as Yahweh is above him, and he is above us, even in stature, all right? We, in spirit, are above the people of the earth, the regular people of the earth, the remnant, okay? We are taller than the regular people of the earth in spirit, all right? We are becoming like Yahweh Shai, all right, in spirit. It says, I was spellbound by the sight. Verse 44, it says, and I asked the angel, who are these people, sir? He replied, these are the people who have taken off their mortal robes, right? Put everything in the past and didn't look back, and have put on immortal ones. We stayed in this light, right? Okay. They have confessed their faith in God, and now they are being given crowns and palm branches as symbols of their victory. All right. In the end, that's what we are going for, the victory. Okay. Verse 46, then I asked the angel, who is the young man who is putting the crowns on their heads and giving them the palms? All right. This is who it is about, not us. All right. He is the Son of God. The angel replied, and all these people confessed their faith in him while they lived on the earth. Then I began to praise those who had stood for the Lord so bravely. And the angel said to me, go and tell my people what you have seen, the many marvelous wonders of the Lord, not us, all right? The marvelous wonders of the Lord, all right? And I wanted to stop up here in the middle of my reading, but I'll just go back to it now. It says, then I began to praise those who had stood for the Lord so bravely. That stood is action, all right? Walking in this way, okay? Not going off, not trying to make our own way, all right? So when you see stood, don't think just stood still. That had action behind it, all right? So now, let's close with this. I'm going to go to John. I'm going to go back to John. John chapter 7. Okay, John chapter 7. We're going to read verses 14 through 18. All right. All right, now listen up. It says, now about the midst of the feast, Yahushua went up into the temple and taught. All right. And the Jews marveled, saying, how knoweth this man letters, having never learned? Okay. Yahushua answered them and said, my doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. Okay. So how do we know that teachers going to these podcasts and the way they answer, and even outside of them, how do we know when people are off or on the boulevard of broke dreams? It's not because of the doctrine that we came up with, all right? It is because of the Almighty's doctrine. And we know this because we are walking in Yahweh Shai's path, okay? So again, John 7 and 16, Yahweh Shai answered them and said, my doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. If any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of God or whether I speak of myself. So we can see when you are trying to do your own thing. Okay? This doctrine allows for that sight. All right? He gave us ears to hear, eyes to see. All right? And we can see when someone is speaking of themselves. Okay? And going off. Even as someone new, if the foundation is there. All right? So, John 7:18. Okay? It says, He that speaketh of himself seeketh his own glory. Now, didn't you say you wanted to jump out of that Israelite car because you felt like you could do something to spread the truth? All right, no, all right. Stay in that car. All right. Again, John 7:18. He that speaketh of himself seeketh his own glory, but he that seeketh his glory that sent him, the same is true, and no unrighteousness is in him. All right. So again, let me read that in the NLT. This is John chapter 7, verse 14 through verse 18. All right. In the NLT, it says, but no one had the courage, or excuse me. It says, then, midway through the festival, Yahushua went up to the temple and began to teach. The people were surprised when they heard him. How does he know so much when he hasn't been trained? They asked. All right. So we don't have scholarly knowledge. We don't have worldly knowledge of these scriptures. How can they tell us about something that is ours? It is the Lord's Spirit that works through us to understand these things. All right. They don't even understand these things. They might understand some of it. All right. But they don't know the deeper meanings. Okay. Otherwise, I don't know. They don't know him because the Lord didn't mean for them to know him. All right. Completely. But they are starting to learn though. They're starting to see the writings on the walls that are clear. Okay. They're starting to see the things that are written out plainly that the men are out there speaking about. Right? And it's undeniable. It is truth. All right. So we don't go to these cemetery schools, all right, and get taught the scriptures, all right, by men who lie. All right. It is the Spirit that beareth witness. All right. To whom our teacher is. Okay. Ultimately, the Spirit comes down from on high. Okay. John chapter 7 and 16 in the NLT. So Yahushua told them, my message is not my own. It comes from Yahweh who sent me. All right. Anyone who wants to do the will of Yahweh will know whether my teaching is from Yahweh or is merely my own. Those who speak for themselves want glory only for themselves. All right. They don't even care about the flock. All right. They want their own glory. All right. They don't care about the Lord and Savior. They're definitely not going to care about the flock. They want their own glory. That's what this world has molded them to be like, just like them. All right. All right. Again, John 7 and 18 in the NLT. Those who speak for themselves want glory only for themselves. But a person who speaks to honor the one who sent him speaks truth, not lies. Okay. So let me read that again in the Good News Translation, and then we can close. This is John chapter 7. Verse 14 through 18. It says in the Good News Translation. All right. It says the festival was nearly half over when Yahushua went to the temple and began teaching. The Jewish authorities were greatly surprised and said, how does this man know so much when he has never been to school? Yahushua answered, what I teach is not my own teaching, but it comes from Yahweh who sent me. Whoever is willing to do what Yahweh wants will know whether what I teach comes from Yahweh or whether I speak on my own authority. All right. Those who speak on their own authority are trying to gain glory from themselves or for themselves. But he who wants glory for the one who sent him is honest, and there is nothing false in him. All right. So if you stay on this path, we don't know exactly what we will be, but we will be like him. We shall be like him. And it is starting to happen already. All right. There's a separation growing between those who hold 100% truth and those who hold their own glory in their sights. All right. So, so yeah, I think that's going to be it for this. And again, this was flowing in the spirit, with the topic being the remnant. All right. We shall be like him. And it's already beginning now. All right. So all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakaha Kwadash. Double honors to my elders, the apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And shalom to the other sincere followers of this truth. Sincere, all right? Keep it sincere, keep it humble, okay? And stay the way until the end, all right? So, shalom.